night tonight. I tell you, I've right enjoyed it tonight. They've been a right friendly audio, all lovely, 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 smiley, friendly people. Seen him there, spent all day doing his hair and then come out without the bastard. Mum had a big dancing school in Leeds, and I used to get roped into all the amateur operatics and dramatic shows and all that because there was always short boys. So I used to get roped in, and I quite liked it because there was the only boys that were there were gay anyway. So I got all the girls. So it was very encouraging. So I did a lot of amateur operatics and things like The Music Man and Carousel and Brigadoon and all those sort of shows at the Leeds Grand Theatre. And that's how I kind of got into it. And then I went to Butlins as a redcoat.
Did you?
Yeah, we used to catch people climbing over the fence and then send them back to finish their holidays. When I came back from Butlins as a redcoat, I was in a double act. And we used to have to use the club backing in them days, so that you didn't have backing tracks and tape backing and things like that. So it was always somebody called Fred and Albert, Rumty-Tumty on the drums. So I found it, because I used to tap dance and play guitar and banjo all at the same time. And sweep up.
Imagination's going.
But if the backing wasn't very good, or they couldn't play them, I used to know they're not going to be able to play this. So I found if I told a couple of jokes, we'd get out of not actually having to do this song and cocking it up because the backing was crap. But gradually that kind of took over. But the guy who I was with, he didn't like me doing comedy at all. He hated me doing comedy.
Oh, so you were a double act?
We were in a double act then, yeah. And he said to me one day, I'm fed up, I don't like you doing all this comedy, and I feel like a lemon stood there. So I said, well, there was one gag we used to do, what's the difference between roast beef and pea soup? You can roast beef, but you can't pea soup. So I used to say that, and I said to him, well, if we're a proper double act, you say to me, what's the difference between roast beef and pea soup? And I'll say, you can roast beef. So he came to do it, and he said, what's the difference between roast beef and Yorkshire pudding? So I knew he would never kind of... And that's a true story, that is it. Yeah, he managed to cock everything up, he did, but he was super cool. I used to call him super cool. Yeah.
So what did your dad do? Was he in the business?
Well, he was a concert pianist, my dad, but he had lots of different businesses. He used to do all sorts of, from carpet cleaning to dry cleaning shops he had, and then houses and flats and bed sitters. And everything went disastrously wrong. He lost money and made money and then lost it all and all that. And one thing he did do, he was fiddling money from the income tax. He used to buy these tellies from this little corner shop, and they put these tellies in this house in the lounge and get them working, and he'd pay about £3 for these tellies. And he'd put an advert in the paper and then pretend to whoever came around to look at the telly that this was our telly, and we'd had it for years and never had a minute's bother with it. And he'd flog them in for about £50. So he built up a big wad of money, and he went out and bought a brand new super duper colour television with a big massive screen and everything, and set it all up in the lounge, and he went out somewhere for the day, and somebody knocked on the door, and my brother sold him the... Did you read in the paper that Lisa Riley's been done for drugs? They found £4 of crack in her knickers. Because I didn't know what to say. I'd never done this before, so I asked Robin, what do we talk about, you know? But anyway, I was talking to Bobby Davro once about my grandmother, and she had Alzheimer's, and she's dead now, bless her, but I loved my grandmother. And when she had Alzheimer's, she didn't know who I was sometimes and all that. And so I was talking to Bobby Davro one day on the phone, and he said that his grandmother was exactly the same. And we were talking about it, and I said, she's always got a jar of Vaseline on the back of the toilet. She had this jar of Vaseline, and I've often wondered what she actually does with it, he said. So he was telling me that his grandmother, she had a jar of Vaseline on the back of her toilet as well. And it started off as a jar of Vaseline, but finished up looking like a jar of marmalade. So you can draw your own conclusions. what she actually did with it.
No, he told me not to bring that up, but that it's a great story.
I never put it on toaster. I
had a funny day though. I got up this morning, I put my shirt on and the shuffling button fell off. Then I picked the briefcase up and the shuffling handle fell off. I'm had a piss all day, there you go. I don't know what might fall off. I'm just not lucky at the moment. I got some shares in a chicken farm and the cock was gay. Every morning it was going, any cock'll do. My great-great-great-grandfather, he was very unlucky indeed. He was shipwrecked in 1912 and the Titanic picked him up. He just got washed and shaved and went straight back down again. There's another one you won't get.
I never consciously set out to be a comedian, that's one thing.
Really?
I never actually thought I'm going to be a comedian. But what happened was, when I first went on my own, I was like a song and dance act, and the same thing happened again with the backing tracks and all that. Well, the backing people, you know, Fred and Albert, Rumty Tumty, everything in 16s. And so I found that I could tell a few jokes, and if the audience liked me, I could tell more jokes and miss out a lot of the musical bits. So I just kind of started like that. But one day I woke up, because in the club programme, South Yorkshire club programme, they used to, I don't know if they still do, I think they do, but they described your act in abbreviations. So if you were a guitar vocalist, it said Git Voc after your name. And mine said Git Voc Tap Banj and all that, and it finished with com, you know, comedy. And one morning I got the club programme and I opened it up and it said comedy. That's all it said. It didn't mention anything else. And that was, I suddenly realised I was a comedian.
Right.
So I never, it was other people who told me I was a comedian. I still don't think I am.
I've been on the road for 3 weeks, 3 shopping weeks I've been on the road, like I've been doing this job, 3 weeks I've been on the road. And I'm telling you, your sex life goes right down the chuffing window. 3 chuffing weeks I've been on the road. I haven't been near a woman for 3 chuffing weeks. Looking around, tonight's not going to be any different time. One or two smiley men. I knew you'd look away first. Mind you, last week my sex life suddenly improved right out the blue. My sex life suddenly improved right out the blue last week. Last week I was that far off a blowjob. It was very, very exciting.
I'm sure might be some people out there that remember, I mean it's a long time ago, but I used to do all the clubs round here. I set myself on fire at Kendray. I finished up in all papers, nobody had ever heard of me like that in them days. And the funny thing was, when we did that first summer season, it was with Linda Lusardi, and the last time I'd seen her picture was on page 3 of the Sun, with me in the corner, a picture of me, and explaining about when I set myself on fire at this club in Kendray. But I had a trick, and I used to light a cigarette from a big ball of flame in my pocket, and I found then after a while that I could soak my jacket with petrol, and so as I put the lighter back in my jacket to be on fire, and I used to say, it's a good job I had my blazer on and things like that. And it got really daft, so then sometimes if they had tabs, curtains or shut, I'd put a pool of petrol on the floor, and I'd have these brothel creepers on, and I'd make a stream of it going back to the dressing room, and just as the curtain were opening, I'd set fire to the middle of the stage and said there'd be a ball of flame in the middle of the stage, and I'd walk on and try and put it out, but I'd have petrol on this foot as well, so I'd get the foot on fire, but I had millions of accidents with that, so I finished up with 2nd degree burn. I burnt all side of me, all my hair. I had long hair at that time, and all my hair got burnt off, and all my eyebrows and everything. Well, only 2 of them, but...
Working with clubs were brilliant, because you learnt your trade there, didn't you?
I did Cudworth Village Club, and they had a guy there called Quiller, who sadly, I was told not so long ago, has passed away, bless him. but he was a rad character, typical rink broad ale now. And I was setting the gear up, because in the old days when I used to do singing and everything, we used to do in the clubs 3 spots, 3 half-an-hour spots. And then when you did comedies, for some unknown reason, you could do 2 spots, but they had to be 45 minutes. So there was a transition period when I was doing 3 spots and then sometimes having to do 2, so my agent sent it out and said he only does 2 now and all that. But I was doing ages, I was doing like 1 hour and 15 for 2 spots and, you know, then an interval and then another hour and 15. And so I turned up at this club and he said to me, this Quiller went past me as I'm putting my speakers up and he said, 3 spots to meet. And he'd gone. So I'm in the dressing room with Fred and Albert going through love boats and he come in and I said, what did you say? He said, that's doing 3 spots. I said, no, Quill, I said, I don't do 3 spots now, I do 2 spots. He said, that's doing 3 spots. I'm fed up to back teeth the turns coming in my concert room and telling me how to run my concert room on a Saturday meet, and if I said I'm doing 3 spots, I was doing 3 spots. So I said, well, how long do you want if I do 3 spots? He said, I want 3 half hours. So I said, listen, Quiller, everywhere else I go now, I do 2 1 hour, 15-minute spots. He said, well, that's not fucking getting away with that here. I've never forgotten what they were doing. Well, one night I was in it was Sheffield, and it was at the Wednesday football ground. They've got a function room there, and it was a presentation, a football presentation, and mostly blokes. And I goes on to do my first. They wanted me to do 2 spots, and so I goes on for the first one, and they're all pissed, and you could feel the atmosphere kicking off. You know, there was going to be trouble, and there was about 400 blokes in this room. So I did as long as I could, and I did about 1 hour and 20 minutes, and I'd kind of done my best stuff out the second half as well. And I went in the dressing room and he said, that were brilliant, fellow come in. He said, that were brilliant. He said, I'll put you back on in another 20 minutes. I said, oh no, I said, I can't. I said, there's going to be trouble in there. He said, there will be trouble if I don't go back on. So I said, all right, and I'll go back on. So he persuaded me and I went back on, and they just didn't want to know me at all. It was kicking off, and I got about 10 minutes into it, and I thought I'm going to sing a song. And I used to do Always on My Mind. Maybe I didn't treat you, on the guitar. And so I'd start singing this song, and this fight broke out, and they were hitting each other with chairs and bottles and glasses and everything else. And in the middle, and I carried on singing. Because you couldn't go, to get to the dressing room, you had to walk through the audience, and I didn't want to come off at that point. We were at the stage. We were watching the cabaret from the stage.
You got the Titanic then, you just got it on.
Yeah. So I carried on. And then, but right at the end it goes, you were always on my mind, you were always on my. And as I got to that bit, this little fella, who was the concert secretary type fella that organised this presentation, came steaming down the room, pushing people out of the way, got on the stage, and he said, right, he said, that's it, I'm disgusted with the behaviour. He said, I'm fed up, I have been in charge of this football presentation for the last 30 years, I've never seen behaviour like this, I've had enough, I'm handing me notice in, I've resigned, and you will never see me again. And I went,
His family had to go into hospital to have his left testicle removed, and when he went home they gave his wife a right bollocking. I had to go to the doctor. I hate going to doctors, but I had to go last week. He was very abrupt with me. I got in the doctor's surgery and I went in the room and everything, and he said, Mr. Pearce, I said yes. He said, you're going to have to stop masturbating. I said, why? He said, you're upsetting the people in the dressing room.
Normally I get, they always think I'm Bobby Davro or Duncan Norville, or Duncan Davro or Bobby Norville. Somebody watched me the other night for an hour and a half and then came up to me afterwards and said, chase me. I couldn't believe it. What was that?
story you talked about?
Oh, the woman, well, we're in I'd just done New Faces and all that, and I was starting to get recognised a bit in the street and everything. And I was in Pantomime, I was doing the first Pantomime, and on my way, I rented this like flat, and on my way back, I'd got time, there were no toilet rolls, a bin line, a light bulb was out in it, and I saw this shop. I'd finished rehearsing, it was about 7:30 at night, it was like a supermarket, and I went in this little supermarket, and I got all my bog rolls and 6-pack of beers and all my bits and bats, and I got like two of them baskets, you know, with all my stuff in, and I got in the queue at the checkout, and there's an Indian lady with a sari on and a red dot on her forehead, and I got to the till, and she smiled with a big smile, and she says to me, "You want box?" And I said, "Well, I did New Faces, and I'm in Pantomime with Jeffrey and Zippy and Bungle and George." She said, "No, you want box to put your stuff in." Oh, right, yeah, right. Because you can get very lonely, you know, doing this job. And, no, I say sometimes, you know, you've all come out for a right good laugh, but us comedians, we have the same problems that you've got. You know, we've got ex-wives and mortgages and kids to bring up and things like that, and financial problems and all the problems that you've got. I know you've come out for a right good laugh, and I'm doing my best to give you what you've come out for. While you sat there laughing, have a think, just think. Where do us poor comedians go when we went there? It's not the lamp room, Barnsley. No, but that's not, you know, I joined a computer dating agency, you know, Lonely Arts Club, and they wrote back saying they're not that desperate, you know. And I got joined this computer dating agency, and they rang me up straight away and said, "There's a girl who's very interested in meeting you, but you haven't got time to swap photographs, and she's going to be getting off the train at Leeds railway station at 3:30 Thursday afternoon. She'll be wearing a white carnation, her name's Louise, and she wants to meet you. And you have to wear a white carnation, and she's expecting you to meet her at 3:30 Thursday." So I turned up. This girl got off the train, fabulous looking, long blonde hair, blue eyes, and a fabulous figure. And she had a white carnation, and I went up to her, I said, "Excuse me?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Are you Louise?" She said, "Are you Billy?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, I'm not Louise."
You work abroad?
I don't like doing ships and stuff, because I think if you're down your arse, you can't get in your car and come home. You're trapped on there. And you're the only one with your own hips.
Explaining that one.
I'm asking this.
Somebody said once, I worked with Bernie Flint, and he does loads of cruises, and he said that he got on this cruise for the first time, and he said, "Where's my room?" And he went in his cabin, and there were no beds or anything. He said, "What do you have to do?" He said, "You have to nail your own hammock up." So he nailed his hammock up, and he had a right good night's sleep, and he got up next morning, and they were still there at the dockside. And he went up to the captain, and he said, "Well, why haven't we left yet?" He said, "Because some silly bastard nailed us to the key." So this agent rang me up and he said, "I've got a great gig for you if you're interested." I said, "What is it?" He said, "Well, you go to Manchester Airport, just take your suits and your backing track." He said, "Get on an aeroplane, you fly to Germany, a car picks you up and takes you to a 5-star hotel. You stay in the hotel, all expenses paid. Car picks you up in the morning, takes you to this base where they have a lovely cabaret room. You go on, do your hours entertainment, then the car picks you up, takes you back to the hotel, you stay there again, all expenses paid, picks you up in the morning, takes you back to the airport, and you fly home with your pockets full of money. Would you like it?" I said, "It sounds brilliant." So the day comes, I get on a plane, flying out to Germany, car picks me up, takes me to the hotel, gets paced out a big meal and all that, picks me up in the morning, goes out to this base, and it's like a big Nissan nut at that, and there's no sound system in there, just 2 little speakers at the end. So I said to the bloke, "Where's the PA system?" He said, that's it there." I said, "Who's going to be in?" He said, 1,000 squaddies. I said, "But they're not going to hear me on that, they're never going to, it was like a hi-fi." I said, "They're not going to hear me." He said, "Well, oh." I said, "Well, you know," he said, "Well, just do half an hour." I said, "But they're not going to hear me." He said, "Well, you're going to have to do as long as you can." I said, "Well, they're just not going to hear me, I'm telling you. He said, I'm really sorry. He said, it's my first time I've taken over and I didn't realise you needed all this. I didn't realise. He said, just do as long as you can. He said, but tell him, as you finish, that because there'll be an interval, just if you can just mention that the buffet's ready, I'll be very happy. So the time comes for me to go on, I could hear the music playing in the distance, and I walked out and I get on the stage, get on the mic, and I said, hello lads, how you all doing? And this fellow at the front said, I can't effing hear you. I said, your buffet's ready. I went all the way to Germany to tell them the buffet was ready.
I was going to ask you, because we've used pyrotechnics in our act for a long time. We don't use them anymore, but we used to use them. And with pyrotechnics, that's when you have explosions backstage and cannons and confetti cannons and smoke like that. And I'm going to just tell them a quick story about Clive Webb. Because Clive Webb is a magician and he's crackers, and he uses loads of pyrotechnics, makes his own bombs, and he makes them much louder than anybody else. And he was doing pantomime, and it was Cinderella. And the ponies came on the stage, and like they always do, it's a full stage, the ponies decide that's the time they're going to go to the toilet. And they just left this pile in the middle of the stage, and all the dancers pretend it isn't there, they dance around it, nobody goes near it, and Clive Webb disappeared off stage, and he sneaks on with one of these maroons with a wire, and stuck it in this thing. Ran off, boom! Everybody got covered on stage. And we stopped using pyrotechnics when we had confetti cannons that went off, and there's a piece of cardboard in the bottom that sent it up, and there was a hole in it, and of course it sent this confetti up, but we were all on fire. So it was all burning confetti was coming down on everybody. And the more you wafted it, so how are you with pyrotechnics? You're all right with them? Because you still use them.
I do, but I have had some fun with them. It's a lot safer now, but when I was experimenting in the early days, I had a few mishaps. I've blown just about everything up. I've had to replace people's drum skins. You know, if they tied them up too much, and I'm on stage and I set one of my bombs off, and it just splits all the drum skins up. I've blown big holes in my feet. I used to have a rabbit in a top hat, so I used to pull a rabbit out of a top hat and say my hair was itching. And I took that over my shoulder and that got blown up, and there was all sorts of things. But one of the funniest things was I was setting my gear up one night in a working men's club in Bradford, and I used to do it with it was a plug socket with a plug resting on the top of the socket with the wires to the banger, and the socket was connected to a battery. So all I had to do was put my foot and push the plug into the socket, and that would fire it off. So that's why I used to get my feet blown and all that. But, it got warm. So one night I'm in this club setting up, and it's like cold winter's night, and they're all sat there with the coats on, freezing cold, with their halves of lager and all that, watching me set all the gear up. And it was like no music, nothing, it was just dead quiet. And I put this plug in, and it didn't stay on the top, it just dropped straight in and blew up in my face. I cut my face and everything, but it was worth it, because there was glasses all smashed everywhere, the little old fellas were stuck to the ceiling. It was brilliant. But I have had a few